All right, let's jump right in. Imagine you've got this incredible project, but to get it off the ground, you need to get the attention of multiple state agencies. Traditionally, that's a massive undertaking. But what if I told you that you could do the whole thing in a single afternoon? Well, today we're looking at a real-world experiment that did exactly that, turning weeks of complex policy work into a 4-hour sprint.
And this right here shows you just how big a deal this is. It's night and day. On one side, you have the old way, 3 to 6 weeks of work, a whole team of people, and thousands of dollars in staff time. On the other side, the AI-powered process, 4 hours, 1 person, and it costs less than $50. The result? 9 totally customized letters and 4 callbacks from government agencies. So, how on earth is that even possible?
Well, to really get the solution, you first have to understand the problem, and it's a big one. Let's call it the bureaucracy mountain. For any small nonprofit, a local library, or some community group just trying to navigate government grants and outreach, it feels like an impossible climb. And that's putting it lightly. The source material actually uses the word gargantuan to describe the learning curve, and it is the perfect word. You practically have to learn a whole new language, a language of compliance codes and RFPs, before you can even fill out the first form. You just feel like you're drowning in PDFs.
This quote just nails the core issue, doesn't it? The system rewards the people who already know the system. So if you can afford to hire expensive consultants or grant writers, you've got this massive head start. This whole experiment is about what happens when you use technology to level that playing field.
And that brings us to the experiment itself, which, funny enough, didn't start with some grand strategic plan. Nope. It started with a moment of pure, accidental discovery. A lucky find that basically changed everything. So picture this. A researcher is just digging through state government websites, and they stumble on this public spreadsheet. It wasn't some flashy press release or marketing brochure. It was something else entirely. It was raw. It was like getting a direct look into the engine room of the agency.
So, to understand why this was such a breakthrough, we have to know what this document was. It's called an OGSM. That stands for Objectives, Goals, Strategies, and Measures. The easiest way to think about it is it's the agency's internal playbook. It's their Rosetta Stone. It's basically an X-ray of how they think, how they justify their budgets, and how they measure their own success.
Now, finding the playbook is one thing, right? But actually using it, that's a whole other challenge. And this is where the magic really happens. This partnership between human curiosity and the sheer speed of an algorithm. This is the human plus AI workflow.
And the process really breaks down into 4 simple phases. First up, discovery. The AI was told to go find these OGSM playbooks for other state agencies. Second, translation. This is the genius part. The AI analyzed the documents to figure out how a local library project could help each agency achieve its own goals, using their own internal language. Third, creation. With that knowledge, the AI drafted perfectly tailored outreach letters. And finally, you get the results. Actual callbacks and real meetings.
But let's be super clear here. The AI isn't running the show. The human, what the source calls human intelligence, or HI, is the creative director in all of this. It was a person who recognized the value of that first OGSM document. It was a person who provided the crucial context about the library project. And it was a person who asked the big what-if questions that guided the whole thing.
And the AI's role here is so much more than just a fancy search engine. It was acting as a policy analyst, seeing patterns across hundreds of pages of dense government speak. It was a translator, reframing one group's mission in the exact vocabulary of another. And then it became a creator, actually drafting those final, customized letters.
Okay, so we've covered the problem, and we've walked through the process. Now for the payoff. Did this whole 4-hour sprint actually work? Well, the results were pretty much immediate, and honestly, they were incredibly powerful. In the world of government outreach, just getting any kind of response can be a huge win. After sending out those AI-generated letters, the researcher got 4 callbacks. That's 4 callbacks from just 6 state agencies they reached out to. I mean, that is a staggering success rate. It proved a really critical point. When you speak an agency's own language and show them exactly how you can help them hit their targets, people actually listen.
Looking at this comparison table again, the numbers are just astounding. Weeks of work, gone, just like that. Crushed down to 4 hours. An entire team's effort, now handled by one person. And the cost goes from thousands of dollars to less than 50.
This is efficiency on a completely different level. And this is so much bigger than just one cool experiment. This is about a fundamental shift in what's possible. It's like a whole new civic playbook that gives this kind of strategic power to anyone.
You know, this might be my favorite line from the source material because it's just so empowering. This workflow means a library director in a small town can now analyze policy and spot opportunities with the same level of sophistication as some high-paid DC consultant. It totally levels the playing field.
At its core, what this process really does is transform information overload into actionable intelligence. That giant, scary mountain of grant applications and annual reports, it's not an obstacle anymore. With an AI teammate, it becomes an interactive map where you can clearly see the pathways to opportunity.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This is not a story about technology replacing people. It's a story about technology amplifying people. The AI's job isn't to have the big idea. Its job is to do all the heavy lifting so that the human has more time and more brain power to notice what truly matters.
So we'll end with this question. If one person can use this method to get in the door with 6 different state agencies in just 4 hours, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What mountains could you move? What opportunities could you uncover for your organization with just one afternoon and one algorithmic teammate?